employability of Filipinos to help them rise above the adversity and combat the impact that COVID-19 had on the economy, especially the employment sector. To welcome us all in this JMC signing is the Secretary of Labor and Employment, our very own Secretary Silvestre H. Belli III, who is also the co-chairman of the NERS Task Force. Good afternoon, Secretary Belli.
Good afternoon. Am I going to speak now? Okay. So let me start by greeting my senior brother, Carlo Nograles, our Cabinet Secretary, my ever supportive partner, DTI Secretary Juan Lopez, the Honorable Senator Artugade, Secretary Sid La Peña of TESDA, and my loving seatmate in cabinet meetings, Secretary Hiling Briones, our source of budget, kung wala siya, wala tayong pera, the Honorable Secretary Wendell Abisado, and the most beautiful secretary in the history of the Department of Tourism, Secretary Bernadette Romulo Puyat. Of course, yung mga samahan ko Ilocano, si Secretary Bautista of DSWD, another Ilocano na kirme, the Honorable Secretary William Dar of the Department of Agriculture, OIC Secretary Bernardo Florese of DILG, ASEC Diana Ignacio, representing Secretary Fortunato de la Peña, other officials and representatives, especially our DOLE senior officials, friends and friends from media, maayong hapon, nembak na malim, magandang hapon po sa atin lahat. I am greatly overwhelmed to welcome you all to the signing of the joint memorandum circular constituting the National Employment Recovery Strategy, NERS for short, a task force. The presence of more than half of the cabinet members constituting the NERS task force is a clear manifestation of this administration's strong commitment and action to recover amidst the devastating impact of COVID-19 to the country's economic and employment impact. Let me first convey my appreciation to all the agencies that contributed to our endeavor to generate more employment opportunities and to improve employability of our workers through the National Employment Recovery Strategy. Just last week, you must have heard, the Philippine Statistics Authority released the full gross domestic product output for 2020, showing a negative 9.5% contraction of the economy. The situation of our labor market is not far from this picture, as we registered record highs and record lows in our key employment indicators last year. Based on the annual estimates of the Labor Force Survey, employment rate is at 89.8%, while unemployment rate is at 10.2%, the lowest and the highest respectively since year 2005. This underscores the importance of coordinated efforts to bring our economy back to its feet, to recover our losses in the labor market, and preserve existing jobs, businesses, and livelihood amidst the lingering pandemic. This GMC will fortify our collective undertaking as a task force working to develop a policy environment that encourages generation of more employment opportunities, improve employability and productivity of workers, and support existing and emerging businesses. This is in alignment with the overall economic recovery strategy espoused in the updated Philippine Development Plan of 2017 to 2022 and the Recharge Philippines. we at the Department of Labor and Employment are looking forward to our stronger engagement with our stakeholders from the private sector, labor and employers groups, so that as one, we will heal, we will recover, and enjoy the fruits of a recharged and reinvigorated labor market. To all of you, welcome to the virtual signing of the JMC. Maraming salamat sa ating lahat.
Thank you very much for that very inspiring welcoming remark from Secretary DOLE III. Now may we have sorry for that. Now may we call on the chairperson of NERS Task Force, Secretary Ramon M. Lopez of the Department of Trade and Industry for the opening message.
Salamat po. Magandang hapon sa ating lahat. Of course, allow me to greet again. Dito naman po, on behalf of the DTI, ang mga kasama natin dito po sa National Employment Recovery Strategy Committee, sa ating co-chair, secretary partner, Investor Bello III, isa rin pong co-chair, Secretary Isidro La Peña, of TESDA. Of course, nandiyan po ang ating mga kabalikat dito po sa ating task force, Secretary Art Ogade, Secretary Wendell Avisado, ang ating pong kagalang-galang na Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles. Again, same greetings po sa kay Secretary Bernard Romulo Puya, partner po natin sa Department of Tourism, Secretary Rolly Bautista, Secretary William Dar, Secretary Leonor Diones, OIC USEC Bernardo Florese of the ILG, sa NEDAPOL, Undersecretary Rose Edilion, and ASEC Diana Ignacio, fellow workers in the cabinet, fellow workers in government, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, magandang hapon po sa ating lahat. Today's ceremonial virtual signing will formally constitute the Interagency Task Force on National Employment Recovery Strategy. As Task Force Chairperson, actually dinesignate lang po ako ni Secretary Bello, hindi po ako nakatanggi. We would like to thank the government agencies, ang mga fellow colleagues po sa atin sa kabinete, fellow servants in government, present ngayon, which signals really the administration's through the government approach in addressing the challenges that our country faces, not only today, but in the post-pandemic future. While the impact of COVID-19 on the country's economy and labor market has been really devastating, at ito po yung mga numero na nabanggit po ni Secretary Bello, negative 9.54 last year. Pero nakita po natin ang improvement the following during the different quarters of 2020. We used to be the second fastest growing economy in the region, and we've been posting over 6% growth. Pero because of the lockdown, the pandemic, in second quarter for last year, it went down to minus 16.5. But if we look into the second quarter, naging minus 11 na lang po, minus 11.5. And in the third quarter, minus 8.3% in the fourth quarter. Quarter on quarter, our GDP grew by 8% from the second to the third quarter, and by 5.6% positive growth from the third to fourth quarter. So we are seeing signs of recovery. However, the labor force survey of the Philippine Statistics Authority reported the country's unemployment rate was estimated at 8.7% pa rin. Ito po coming from a record high of 17.7% in April during the height of the community lockdown. So bumaba na po ang unemployment natin. But this is still far from our average of around 5%. In fact, 4.5% tayo in 2019. This also means that there are still around 3.8 million Filipinos aged 15 years old and above who are still unemployed because of the pandemic. Although no industry of the economy was left unscathed, job losses were especially severe in sectors such as arts, entertainment, and recreation. These had the highest decline at 38.2%, followed by, of course, the tourism, ang laki po ng tama sa mga accommodations, food service activities, 33.2% decline. While it is considered necessary for reducing the risk of spreading COVID-19, the confinement measures are putting unprecedented pressure on local labor markets and economies. Vital, wide-ranging, and integrated policy measures are needed. We should focus on re-stimulating the economy and jobs, supporting enterprises, employment, and incomes, and protecting workers in the workplace, including occupational safety and health. Kaya po meron din tayong mga workplace protocol. For this reason, we are drafting NERS, the National Employment Recovery Strategy, as an expanded medium-term trabaho, negosyo, kabuhayan blueprint for decent employment and entrepreneurship in the new normal so that we can achieve a better normal for our country. The objective of this employment strategy is to enhance the effectiveness of each of the policies and programs and to more efficiently achieve the strategic national objectives. Ito po ang gustuhan po ng ating Pangulo Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Makabangon talaga ang ekonomiya. This strategy brings together various measures, programs, and institutions that influence the demand and supply of labor as well as the functioning of labor markets. This in turn will restart economic activities, restore business confidence, upgrade and retool the workforce, and facilitate access to the labor market. Sa larawan po ng DTI, we also recognize the vital role of the micro SMEs in building back better in the Philippine economy. Our efforts are directed towards the swift recovery of affected MSMEs to spur job creation and livelihood opportunities for Filipinos. That's why dito po sa Bayanihan COVID Assistance Restart Enterprises Program or CARES Program, implement po ng Small Business Corporation. It has a feature where modern enterprises can borrow up to 3 billion pesos. Likewise, under this program, small enterprises can borrow up to 1.5 million pesos, provided that they retain or rehire a significant number of workers. This strategy is notable as we are achieving two things in a single action. First is that it helps enterprises sustain their business operations. Second is that it ensures that they avoid layoffs and hire a significant number of workers. Then, meron din po tayong digital upskilling of existing and would-be entrepreneurs, which is also a priority of DTI. Through our reboot package for MSMEs, continuous conduct of webinars, may training po on e-commerce, e-payment, digital marketing. These are all being done to encourage and level up yung mga micro SMEs in embracing digitalization. This program will help them transform their businesses to better adapt to the new business environment in the wake of pandemic and make their businesses more viable. Meron din po mga DTI Diskwento Caravans that are conducted nationwide para din po to market also micro SME manufactured products, especially on basic necessities. They will likewise provide consumer products priced in accordance with or even lower than the suggested retail prices or SRPs. Aside from our regular capacity building interventions, various labor force upskilling and reskilling initiatives are being done by many agencies led here by TESDA. Also, meron din po tayong DTI e-commerce group that will spearhead the launching of negosyo and skills, e-commerce negosyo and skills pathway. This is composed of tracks on entrepreneurial skills for online enterprises, digital skills pathway for micro SMEs, as well as tracks on pivot and embrace technology. The latter consists of a series of workshops that aim to cater to those who are seeking remote employment or wish to adopt alternative careers. In closing, our goal is to create employment opportunities and improving employability of Filipinos during the pandemic. Sama-sama po lahat ng ahensya na nandito po ngayon. That's why you can see the high-level presence ng ating pong mga cabinet secretaries to show their commitment towards this focus goal on bringing back employment and re-stimulating the economy. What's more, this effort will complement the government's existing recovery initiative under Recharge PH through the Task Group on Economic Recovery. But more than this, we hope that this full of government effort will become a whole of society movement to realize our dream of creating a modern, dynamic, and responsible Philippines. Let us build a nation where our people can live in a more comfortable and higher quality of life, as promised by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay tayong lahat.
Thank you so much for that message, Secretary Lopez. We would also want to share to everyone that we are live on DOLE Facebook. Now, in order to better understand the purpose of NERS, why we need it, and how it will aid in the recovery of the Philippine economy and the Filipino people in general, we will present a video presentation created by DOLE Bureau of Local Employment Labor Market Information Team.
Walang dole nun.
Thank you for that presentation. Again, I just want to clarify it is DOLE YouTube Live. Okay. At this juncture, we will now have the virtual signing of the joint memorandum circular. May I ask all the signatories to please place the copy of JMC on your table, and all the signatories will then simultaneously sign each page of the JMC and have a photo of thereafter. First, please secure that the camera can see the table and the document. Okay, okay, now we can all sign, the signatories can now sign the JMC document, and after that, you can hold that and then place that on the camera so that everyone can see it. The Joint Memorandum Circular officially constitutes the NERS Task Force. The NERS Task Force will primarily be responsible in finalizing the NERS Action Plan by harmonizing employment, livelihood, and training opportunities that will create employment opportunities and improve employability of workers. Okay. Okay. Should we count 1, 2, 3 so that everyone will? Okay. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, now that the JMC NERS Task Force is officially or ceremonially signed, we now call on the Cabinet Secretary, Secretary Carlo Alexi Nograles, for his message of support to the National Employment Recovery Strategy or NERS. Sec Nograles.
Magandang hapon po. Congratulations to Chair Secretary Mon Lopez and Co-Chair Secretary Silvestre Delio III and Secretary Isidro La Peña. Kitang-kita niyo naman, no, pagdating sa pagbibigay ng trabaho, kitang-kita na nandito ang suporta ng mga kagawaran at mga ahensya ng gobyerno. Nandito po kasama natin, siyempre sa pagbibigay ng trabaho, Department of Tourism, dito si Secretary Berna Romulo Puyat, sa DSWD, sa Social Welfare and Development, si Secretary Rolando Bautista, sa DDM, nandito si Secretary Wendell Abisado, sa Department of Transportation, si Secretary Art Tugade, at syempre pa mula sa Department of Agriculture, Secretary William Carr, at sa Department of Education, si Secretary Lini Briones, at lahat ng mga kasamahan natin, mga kabalikat natin sa gobyerno na nandito po ngayon na full support. Ako rin po, mula sa aming tanggapan, I am very grateful for this opportunity to be with you all and give my full support to this very crucial endeavor. Sophocles once said, without labor, nothing prospers. Labor represents our human capital for producing goods and services vital in any economy. Kung walang obrero, wala tayong makakain. Hindi tayo makakapag-meeting, wala tayong mga produkto, mga gamit araw-araw, sa araw-araw na pamumuhay. Kung walang magagawa, walang gagalaw. Alam po natin lahat na ang labor sector ay isa sa mga pinaka-apektado sa pandemya ito. Our economy and labor market are adversely affected. Based on the Labor Force Survey of the Philippine Statistics Authority, more than 420,000 Filipino workers lost their jobs in 2020, bringing the country's unemployment rate to 10% in 2020. Kaya naman, the Department of Labor and Employment, the Department of Trade and Industry, and the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority recognize the need to harmonize the employment, livelihood, and training programs of the government to contribute in the recovery of the Philippine economy. Isa sa ating mga konkretong hakbang ay pag-isipan ng mabuti at malangkasin itong ating National Employment Recovery Strategy or the NERS 2021 to 2023 Medium-Term Plan, which is anchored on Recharge PH and aims to expand and level up our current trabaho, negosyo, kabuhayan initiative. The NERS will provide improved access to employment, livelihood, and training and retraining opportunities for our workers to improve their employability and meet the demands of this fast-changing labor market amidst the ongoing pandemic. Ang pagkabuo ng NERS Task Force at katuwang na Oversight Committee ay paraan na pagsiguro na ang NERS at ang Task Force ay makakapagbibigay ng kinakailangang suporta at katiyakan sa hanapbuhay at trabaho at mga negosyo. The bottom line is to help us all, our economy, recover and rebound. Please remember that our fiscal year 2021 national budget carries the theme Reset, Rebound, and Recover, investing for resiliency and sustainability, which will help the nation reset by addressing the pandemic, rebound by boosting infrastructure development, and by generating job opportunities, and rebuild by assisting communities to adapt to this post-pandemic life. The 2021 budget will, among others, stimulate economic activity through the revival of infrastructure development through the Build, Build, Build program, and the Plant, Plant, Plant program, which is all expected to generate 1.1 million direct and indirect jobs and catalyze business activities all over the country. The signing of this JMC, which we did just seconds ago, is the counterpart, so to speak, the show of the commitments of the entire bureaucracy of government through the partnership of the BPI, with DOLE, with TESDA, with CHED, with DAR, with DA, with DepEd, with DENR, with DICT, DILG, DPWH, DOST, DSWD, DOT, DOTR, and NSC, among others, to ensure support for our country's recovery efforts, with particular and special focus on addressing employment, livelihood, labor, and jobs. Dahil ang pangunahing tungkulin ng NERS Task Force ay matugunan ang mga problemang dala ng pandemya sa ating labor market. Batid ng pamalaan na kinakailangan natin muli ng tulong din ng private sector. Kaya ngayon pa lamang alam natin na ang susunod na hakbang ay mas malawakang pakikipag-ugnayan kasama sila ang nasa privado sector sa ating pagtugon sa maraming usapin ng ating mga manggagawa. Alam natin na maraming dinalang pahirap ang COVID-19, pero naging daan din ito na tayong lahat na nandito ngayon ay magkakasamang humahanap ng solusyon. Marami ang kailangan harapin, pero kailangan lang na magkasundo sa direksyon na tatahakin. Sa parang ito, na pakikipagtulungan, mas marami sa ating mga kababayan ang makakabawi ng mas mabilis. We have proven that collaboration is really an effective way to address different issues brought about by the impacts of COVID-19, which is why we have made it a practice to always involve our different partners and stakeholders in addressing the problems that we face as a society. Through collaboration, we get to achieve more and realize our objectives faster. We also get to see the problems from different perspectives and are able to consider many other ways to move past the obstacles and find solutions. It is through this that we have been able to come up with more problem-specific policies that will help truly address the problems of our labor sector. Tulad ng ginagawa natin sa Zero Hunger Task Force, kung saan marami sa inyo ang kasama ko. Kinalab natin ang suporta mula sa private sector. At mula doon, nakabuo tayo ng iba't ibang mga polisiya na ang hangarin ay matugunan ang kagutuman sa ating bansa. Mula sa pagbalangkas ng polisiya hanggang sa pagsasagawa ng mga programa, pribadong sektor at iba't ibang stakeholders ang ating kasama. We have also, due to this pandemic, saw every opportunity to improve on our existing technologies. And the NERS Task Force will also look out for improving the advantage of our workers through these available technologies in our action plan. Because of the pandemic, our workers have to adapt to the changing needs of employers and the industries that they belong to. One way that we can help meaningfully is to provide avenues for their trainings, education, and opportunities with these technologies, as well as many other components that belong in our NERS action plan. Kahapon naman po, the updated Philippine Development Plan 2017 to 2022 was launched by kung saan ang mayroong healthy and resilient Pilipinas natin. As Ned said, while we expect a gradual recovery beginning late 2020, and then we are also focused that there will be K to 12 graduates will be graduating from college and are expected to join the labor force. So there will really be an additional supply of workers next year that will also make our unemployment rate, challenging. So about 2.4 to 2.8 million jobs must be created this year. Of these scenarios, napakahalaga po itong pinakabagong JMC at ang NERS 2021 to 2022. Sa lahat ng mga planong ito para sa ating labor sector, tayo ay hindi tumitigil sa paghanap ng mga pangmatagalang solusyon at tamang timpla ng suporta upang mas marami sa mga kababayan natin ang makikinabang. Mas marami sa mga nawalan ang magkaroon ng katiyakang makakabalik sa hanapbuhay, makatulong na muli sa kanilang pamilya at makaambag na muli sa paglago ng ating ekonomiya. As the backbone of our economic activities, it is incumbent upon us to ensure that our labor force get the support we will need to be able to recover. So to the nurse task force, I know there's a lot of hard work ahead, but just thinking of the employment and the jobs we will help create and keep, the lives that we will help make better, that's more than enough motivation to press on and carry on. Sa gitna ng ating mga pinagdadaanan bilang isang bansa, ito ang sigurado. Sa patuloy na kooperasyon ng gobyerno at sektor ng pribadong sektor at lahat ng mga mamayan na ating pinagsisilbihan, aahon at aahon po tayo. Basta kailangan natin magtulungan. Let's nurse the Philippines back to health. Let's nurse the economy back to recovery. And let's nurse the labor force back to it. Maraming salamat po at mabuhay po tayo.
Thank you so much for that message of support, Secretary Carlo Alexino Morales. Before we conclude this event, may I call on one of the key players for the NERS Action Plan, particularly on workforce development, Secretary Isidro S. La Peña of the Technical Education and Skills Development Authority, or TESDA, for his closing remarks. Good afternoon, Secretary La Peña.
Thank you. Secretary Ramon Lopez, Department of Trade and Industry, and the Chairman of the NERS Task Force, Secretary Sylvester Bello III, the Department of Labor and Employment, and the Co-Chairman of the NERS Task Force, Cabinet Secretary Carlo Morales, Secretary William Dar, the Department of Agriculture, Secretary John Pasticiones, Department of Agrarian Reform, Secretary Leonor Biones, the Department of Education, Secretary Roy Simato, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, Secretary Gregorio Manasan, the Department of Information and Communications Technology, Secretary Ed Año, the Department of Interior and Local Government, Secretary Mark Villar, the Department of Public Works and Highways, Secretary Fortunato de la Peña, the Department of Science and Technology, Secretary Rolando Bautista, the Department of Social Welfare and Development, Secretary Bernadette Romulo Poyat of the Department of Tourism, Secretary Arthur Pagade of the Department of Transportation, Chairperson Prospero Rivera of the Commission on Higher Education, Secretary Wendell Abisado of the Department of Budget and Management, Secretary Jimenez Espero Jr., the National Security Advisor, Secretary Carl Nova, the National Economic Development Authority, distinguished guests, other officials, our friends from the media, friends, ladies and gentlemen. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. On behalf of Grateful TESDA, I would like to thank all of you for your attendance to this virtual gathering. Today's signing ceremony officially signifies our respective agencies' commitment to support the implementation of the National Employment Recovery Strategy, or NERS. We all know that the economic impact brought about by the pandemic necessitates a whole of government approach to enable the country's road to recovery. As member and a co-chair of the NERS Task Force, TESDA declares our commitment to collaborate with all of you in order to achieve the objectives of this task force. TESDA will make sure that the technical vocational education and training or TVET will capacitate Filipino people towards employment recovery. Whether trabaho, negosyo, or kabahayan, TVET plays a vital role. TVET not only provides Filipinos the competencies to cope with the challenges of pandemic, but also that of digital automation. TESDA has rolled out flexible learning delivery to ensure continuity of training under the new normal. We continue working on innovations on how TVET should be carried out given the current and emerging labor market conditions. With our guiding principle, TESDA would lahat, all our kababayan, especially the displaced workers and repatriated OFWs, are assured of TESDA support in terms of scholarship. The free skills training we provide will result to the needed and appropriate competencies for employment or livelihood after. Even those in the lower strata of society are assured of access to quality skills training from TESDA. The whole of government approach in fighting the pandemic is the key to reviving our economy. From skills development to generation of employment opportunities, to improving productivity of workers and supporting existing and emerging businesses, these are all crucial collaborations we need to do. Let us act in synergy by integrating our efforts. The collective results of our interventions will be greater than what we can achieve if we work separately. With this of the participating agencies, knowledge and expertise combined, I am confident that we will be able to deliver our program interventions in accordance with the NERS action plan. I trust that the NERS task force will be instrumental in the country's economic recovery. It has gathered all our efforts to uplift the lives of our kababayan affected by this pandemic. Together, we will heal and recover as one. Maraming pong salamat. Muli, magandang hapon sa inyong lahat.
Thank you so much, Secretary Lapena. At this point, may we ask other cabinet secretaries to give a brief message to the public in support for NERS Task Force. First, may we ask Secretary Tugade of the Department of Transportation. Sec?
Gaya hong sinabi ng ating mahal na kalihim, si Secretary Gonzales, wala hong bayan o bansa saan pa man sa mundo ang lilipad at sisigla kung walang trabaho. Ako ho ay nagbibigay ng buong suporta ko dito sa proyektong ito na kung saan pinirmahan natin yung National Employment Recovery Strategy. Pagkat kung wala hong trabaho, paano na ho yung pamumuhay at buhay. Support ako dito 100%. Kasi ho, kailangan natin ang trabaho para sa kabuhayan, para sa buhay ng tao. I am with you all the way. Maraming salamat po.
Secretary Bello, we will continue working with the Inter-Age Task Force on the National Employment Recovery Strategy. Tourism employed 5.7 million people last 2019. Because of COVID-19, 4.8 million jobs were affected. So all-out support for this, Secretary Bello. And thank you for this for constituting this interagency task force. Tourism is about job. Tourism is everybody's business, and we really need to restart tourism and give jobs back. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you, Secretary Bernadette Cuyat of the Department of Tourism. May we also ask Secretary Wendell Avesado of the Department of Budget and Management for a brief message. Sec.
I will state my support in one sentence. Funds are available. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. Yay! Okay, now may I call on Secretary Rolando Bautista from the Department of Social Welfare and Development. Secretary Bautista.
The Department of Social Welfare and Development will call out support to the National Employment Recovery Strategy 2021 to 2022. With that,
Thank you for that message, Secretary Bautista. Now may we have from the Department of Education, Secretary Leonor Briones. Sec. Briones.
Good afternoon, fellow advocates and warriors for home jobs for our fellow Filipinos. We in the Department of Education have consistently pointed out the clear link between education and employment. Enrollment in the private sector schools has dropped to 50%, and this is largely because many of our overseas workers, many of our employable people have lost their jobs and cannot make the choice which we want to give to them, the choice of whether they want to send their children to public schools or to private schools. As a result, enrollment has gone down in the private sector and enrollment has gone up in the public sector, which of course is a added responsibility on the part of public sector schools. And so we support with all our heart, we support with all our efforts, and we believe that as we create more jobs, we create more opportunities to prepare our learners for their lifetime professions, for participation in not only in the Philippine economy, but the global economy as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Secretary Leonor Briones. Now may we have from the Department of the Interior and Local Government, OIC Bernie Flores Jr.
Thank you very much and good afternoon. The Department of the Interior and Local Government supports the National Employment Recovery Strategy for 2021 to 2023. On behalf of Secretary Eduardo Anyo, may I congratulate this interagency task force headed by Secretary Ramon Lopez. Truly, this will help the country recover and move forward. Good afternoon to everyone.
Thank you so much, Sir Bernie Flores. Now from the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, may we ask Yusef Jonas Leones for a brief message. Okay, I think we will go straight to the Department of Science and Technology. May we ask ASEC Dayan Ignacio for her brief message.
Yeah, on behalf of our Secretary, Secretary Fortunato Coy de la Peña, the DOST supports the National Employment Recovery Strategy, NERS, for the period 2021 to 2023. The DOST has a lot of programs for employment and for entrepreneurship based on our technologies that we develop. So I hope we will be able to help in this national employment recovery strategy because of this pandemic. Thank you very much and good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you, ASEC Dayan Ignacio. I think Yusef Jonas Leones is now with us. Maybe ask for his brief message.
Thank you. For the DNR, in behalf of our Secretary Roy Simato, we are committing our full support to this joint memorandum circular constituting the Interagency Task Force on the National Employment Recovery Strategy 2021-2023. And starting 2021-22, please we ensure that we will be incorporating our plans and programs considering this joint memorandum circular. Thank you.
Thank you, Yusek Leones. Since there's no more media questions, we thank everyone who was with us today. And this concludes our ceremonial signing of the joint memorandum circular.
Unmute.
Thank you so much, Yusek Leones. Again, since there's no more media questions, we would conclude this event. Again, thank you so much for everyone. And this concludes our ceremonial signing of the joint memorandum circular constituting NERS Task Force. Thank you and see you again on our next task force meeting. Magandang araw po sa inyo lahat.
Meeting na tayo.
Now our children can go to school because their parents will be getting jobs, getting their jobs back.
We'll have to work. And tama sa meeting.
Congrats all. Anyway, all funds available.
Yes. Apply, seconded.
Most beautiful Department of Tourism Secretary.
Pinaka-importante talaga DBM, funds are available.
Kahit rewards lang, sequential, very powerful.
Secreto, kahit na ba mawala lahat, huwag lang si Secretary.